Welcome to this demo of the FXLoader cloud service for integration with Workday Financials and HCM. The FXLoader cloud service runs on an Oracle Cloud platform and is made up of pages to configure your FX rates integration and a background scheduler to get, process and load the rates. REST web service calls are made to any of our rates providers. Rates are then processed according to your configuration and loaded into your Workday application using a web service provided by Workday. So let's look at FXLoader to see the configuration options available. Access the application via a browser and log in using the credentials supplied for your company. The homepage shows metrics for your company and the 5 latest jobs, with links to see the details for each job. The configuration is centered around one or more runs, supported by currency rates and ERP instances to load rates into. First, we'll create the instance, which is the link to your Workday application. Give the instance a name and enter the URL of the environment, including the version of the API, along with a username and password for an ISU user with sufficient access. We recommend this user has the minimum access needed to create rates. We can also enter your accounting calendar type and accounting year start date to use to calculate period, quarter and year-to-date averages. Next, we need to create a currency set, which is the list of currencies you need to load rates for. Give the set a name and pick the currencies we need from the master list. We'll choose a few common currencies. We can choose as many as we need here as long as they are available from the chosen source. We can create additional currency sets if we need to load from another source such as the central bank. For example, if you need official rates from the Mexico Central Bank, you'd create a currency set containing USD and MXN to be used by a separate fetch stage. If you're using an old or non-standard currency code in your ERP, enter the standard code to fetch the rates from the source. For example, for Mexico, you can get MXN rates and load them against the old code MXP. Flag a currency as base to determine which cross rates you need. You can also set rounding or other overrides for individual currencies when used as a from or to currency, or even for a specific currency pair. Finally, we set up the runs you need to schedule. We set a frequency of the run, most often daily, but you can select other options, including setting specific dates. For period end and period average rates, you can run once per period. Select the time the scheduler should submit the jobs and set the next start date to the date you want to start loading from. Automatic retry options control the interval and number of times to retry in the event of a problem. This is useful when Workday is down for patching or upgrade, as they avoid the need for manual intervention. Next, we define the stages of the run. First, we create a fetch stage to pull the rates from one of the sources. Pick a source of rates. For a paid source such as Oanda or Ignite, you'll need a subscription from them, which can be included in your FXLoader subscription. Pick the currency set we just created and choose the from and to currencies to fetch. We'll get US dollar rates to all others, but you can choose any combination. The date offset allows you to fetch rates for a different date to the date of the run. We'll use -1 to get closing dates for the previous day. Finally, there are parameters specific to certain providers. Fixed time for FXIgnite and source decimal places for Oanda. You would create multiple fetch stages if you need rates from multiple sources. We have the option to create cross rates via triangulate stage. We'll pick the same currency set and choose to calculate cross rates from our base currencies to all others. The pivot currency will be US dollars, as we have those from the fetch stage. Triangulate stages are not always needed. You can choose instead to get all combinations of rates directly from the source, or you may not need cross rates at all. Finally, create a load stage, which send rates to Workday. Pick the instance we set up earlier, enter the rate type to load into, use date offset to determine the date to load the rates into. For example, enter -1 to load as the closing rates for the previous day. Extra days are not relevant for Workday as it uses the latest effective rate. Pick bid, ask or midpoint for market rates. You could round rates to a number of decimal places. Workday can only accept a maximum of 6, so we use that. You can set up multiple load stages to load different instances of the same ERP or into a different ERP. Finally, let's set up a notification to send us an email in the event of error, retry or warning. We can also send an email with a CSV file of the rates. So that's it. When we set the status to ready, it will run every day at the chosen time. You can also submit a job immediately as of any date you choose. We can also create a separate run for averages if needed. We can copy the daily run and then adjust to calculate averages. Give it an appropriate name and set the frequency to be based on your accounting periods. Use offset days to indicate if it should run on the last day of the period, or the day before, or the first day of the next period, for example. This is based on your accounting calendar that we set up against the instance. We don't need a fetch stage as we calculate averages from rates already loaded. This allows us to take an overall average if you use more than one source for your daily rates. First, we pick the criteria for the rates we want to average. Let's select the daily run and specify an average of current rates. Then we set the date range to calculate averages over. We have lots of options here to support quarter to date, year to date or rolling averages. Period averages are most often needed, so we'll set the end date to be the date we are running and the start to be the start of the period. Then we change the rate type and, if necessary, the date offset in the load stage. To find out more, please visit our website at FXLoader.com, where you can contact us and request a free 30-day trial.